Okay, so the purpose of this video very quickly is to take you through the list of the different things you should be able to do on the Ti-Nspire calculator for the one variable stats unit. So you see I have a list of 7 things here. The mean, the 5-number summary, which is min-max, and the quartiles Q1, Q2, and Q3. Of course, the median is Q2. Finding standard deviation, finding the mean absolute deviation, the MAD, sketching a dot plot, a box and whisker plot including side-by-side box plots, and lastly a histogram, and we need to also know how to adjust the window and the bin width and the starting value. So what I'm going to do is use the data that I have over here to remind you of how to enter data in the first place, and this data will be used for all 7 of these. And again, the object of this is just to show you the steps on the calculator for finding each of these. Okay, so I'm going to go over to the calculator. What you could do at this point is, of course, create a new document. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my current document. I've already got a new document open. So you go to the home page and click New Document. In my case, I've already done that. And what you're going to do is add a lists and spreadsheet page, and that page is the one on which we can enter our data. And so go up to the top of that column, give it a name, and so I could call this example, for instance, and then I would go ahead and enter each of the numbers that you see down into the column. What I'm going to do, just to save a little bit of time, I've already gone ahead and I've got that entered, and I've called my column data. It doesn't really matter what you call it, but do give it at least 2 letters, otherwise you do run into problems sometimes with the calculator not being able to distinguish whether it's a list name or a variable. So just keep that in mind. So what I've got is I've got all my data entered in here, and what I'm going to do now is go through and find all these different things that I've been asked to find. Some of them are done in a single step, and so numbers 1, 2, and 3 are actually all done together using a one variable stats calculation, and so that will actually find all 3 of those things for you, and then we can go ahead and just read off what we need. So I'll show you how to do that. So what we're going to do is come back to the calculator. I'm going to create a new page, and this time I'm going to create a calculator page. From the calculator page, I'm going to select menu. I want the statistics menu. I want statistical calculations for one variable stats. I have just the one list, and that list is the one that I called data. And then I'm going to click OK, and it's going to generate a whole bunch of statistics. First off, we've got X bar, and so X bar over here is your mean, and so the mean 23.19. The other thing you were asked for is the 5-number summary. If we scroll down a little bit, you'll see the 5-number summary is effectively listed right here. So let me just take that highlight off. I've got my minimum X value of 10, Q1 is 15, median, which is Q2, 23, Q3, and my maximum. So that is the 5-number summary. You'll see if I scroll up a tiny little bit, the third thing you were asked for is, of course, the standard deviation. Notice the symbol that's used is the lowercase Greek letter sigma, and that is the population standard deviation. That's the one we're interested in, and so my standard deviation 8.75626. And so through one variable stats, I'm actually able to find a total of 7 data points. A couple of other things I'm going to point out now before I go ahead to the MAD calculation. That is, it will show you the number of data points that have been entered, and so that's the N value. That's the number of pieces of data that you entered. And then, of course, this over here, which actually is also sigma x, that shows you the sum of all of the different x values is 719. So this average of 23.19 is obtained by saying 719 divided by the number of numbers 31, and that's how we obtain this. Okay, let's go ahead to the calculation of MAD, which is a little more complicated. So what I'm going to do is go back to my spreadsheet, and I'm going to go to the column next to data, and I'm going to title this MAD. And this is the one in which I need to enter a formula, and pay particular attention to the bottom here because you'll be able to see the formula entered. And so what I'm going to do is if I go down to that box and I hit enter, then what it'll paste is MAD equal to. So you must do this. You must go into that box, hit enter, MAD is equal to, and now you'll have the formula for MAD, but what you need to remember is the following. What we need is the absolute value. So absolute value can be obtained in one of two ways. You can use this button over here. If I click that, okay, seems like I've got a little bit of a problem with my calculator here. Let me just go back out to my menu and try that again. So I'm going to show you the other way since the menu isn't working, and that is to type ABS, which stands for absolute value, and open a set of parentheses. So it's the absolute value, and then I need each number in this list. So what I'm going to do is type in the list name. So it's the absolute value of data, which is each number in the data list, minus the average of the data list. So of course for average we can type in mean, open the parentheses, and I need mean of data. And if you have a look at the bottom of the screen here, you see we have absolute value of data minus mean of the data list. And then if I hit enter, what it's done is it's found each of those individual values for me, and then I can go back to my calculator screen, and I can do very much what I did above. I'm going to go menu, statistics, stat calculations, one variable statistics, one list, and this time the list that I'm interested in is the MAD, and the value that I'm after is the average value, and so I want X bar, so my average value for MAD 7.127 is going to be the mean absolute deviation for my example data. Okay, so we've taken care of the first four, and now what I'm going to do in the next 3 or 4 minutes is just show you 3 different sketches, ways to represent data. And so I come back to my document. This time I'm going to add a page, and when you want data representations, what we're after is number 5, data and statistics. So I'm going to select that. What it does is gives me the scatter plot. Go down to the bottom and click on where it says click to add a variable, and what I'm selecting this time is data, and what the calculator has just given me right now is a dot plot. That's all you would need to sketch a dot plot. You may recall from our discussion in class, we generally only use dot plots when we've got a relatively small number of numbers that repeat frequently. So as you can see from our plot here, our numbers are spread all over the place and don't fit very nicely into individual numerical integer values. Okay, but that's the method for sketching a dot plot. Then all we need to do, if I want to change this plot into a box plot or a box and whisker plot, then I'm going to go to my menu and I'm going to go to plot type, and all I need to do is change that to box plot, and I've now got a visual representation of the 5-number summary. So remember the 5-number summary: minimum, which is 10 in this case, quartile 1, 15, the median or quartile 2 is 23, quartile 3 is 31, and my maximum value in this case is 41. Remember, based on this, since the whiskers extend to the highest and the lowest value, this is an example of a dot plot with no outliers. Okay, what I'll do is just show you what it would look like if I did in fact have an outlier. And so I'm just going to go down and add a number into this list just for the purposes of demonstration. And what I'm going to do is add the number 85. and then I'm going to go back to my dot plot, and let me just go change this quickly, and I'm going to go to data, and what you can see now is it's updated my plot for me, and sitting out here would be our outlier. Okay. What the other thing you need to be able to do, as you can see here, is side-by-side box plots. Very simple. All you do is come down to the box again. We're going to click over there, and you'll see the list. It's not going to help us to just click on this because it'll change the dot plot. So I'm going to escape from there. What we need to do in this case is effectively a right click, and the way you're going to right click is click Control and then Menu. And so in this case I'm going to go over here and right click, and what I want to do is add an X variable, and the X variable I'm going to add in this case is another list I made up, which is data 2. And so here we have data 2, and this allows us to compare two sets of data plotted on the same number line, so it's very easy visually to compare their medians, their spread, etc. Okay, so that takes us through our box and whisker plots, and then the last thing we're going to do is just a histogram. So what I'm going to do is add a page. I could have also gone in and just changed the plot type here, but I'm going to just sketch a new page, and what I want in this case is going to be data and statistics. And before I do this, what I just want to do is go in and delete that value, because I don't want that to interfere with the histogram. And so I've deleted that back out. So I'm going to go down here, select my data again. It defaults to the basic, which is the dot plot. From here I want a histogram, and so here's my default histogram that the calculator has found for you. What we need to do though is this last little piece, which is to modify the bin width and the starting value. And so we can see here bin width and starting value, we need to be able to modify those. So I'm going to come back over here, and once again I go into the body of the graph over here, and I need a right click, so that's the control menu. And so in this case I'm going to go in, I right click, and this time I select bin settings, start off by checking equal bin width, and this now allows me to enter the width that I want. So let's say I wanted a width of 6 and an alignment of 0. Then my graph now updates, and the last thing I need to do here, you can see it's gone above what I can see, and so I'm going to go to Menu, Window Settings, and I'm just going to increase the Y maximum, and I'm going to make that 12 in this case, and now we get a nice clear representation of our data. Okay, and that takes care of all the skills that you need for on the TI for the current one variable stats unit.